Hey guys, I'm here, and in this video, we're going to talk about one of the most famous landmarks in the world, Mount Rushmore. It is the 60-foot granite faces of 4 American presidents carved into a mountain in South Dakota. And it took 14 years to complete from 1927 to 1941. But there's more to Mount Rushmore than meets the eye. And today, I want to share with you some of its hidden engineering secrets. The sculptor of Mount Rushmore was a man named Gutzon Borglum and his son, Lincoln Borglum. Gutzon was born in Sweden and immigrated to the United States in 1884. He began his career as a commercial sculptor, but his work soon gained recognition, and he was commissioned to create works for the 1893 World S. Columbia Exposition in Chicago, the St. Louis World's Fair, and the Pan American Exposition in Buffalo, New York. In 1923, Borglum was selected to sculpt the faces on Mount Rushmore, and he began planning the project by studying the faces of hundreds of potential candidates. But soon he would run into some problems. See, the original plan was to carve the faces of 12 great Americans, and the mountain was only big enough for 6. So they decided to make the faces on each side of the mountain, like a mirror image. The first 4 were George Washington, Thomas Jefferson, Theodore Roosevelt, and Abraham Lincoln. On the other side would be John Hanson, Benjamin Franklin, Ulysses Grant, and a Native American chief. Borglum began work on the project in 1924, but after 3 years, only the outline of Washington's face had been completed. Then Borglum suffered a serious head injury when a piece of granite fell on him. His son Lincoln then took over the project and made some changes. Instead of carving the entire face, he would only carve the upper half of each president, stopping at the bottom of their chin so that the rock above the heads could remain intact. Lincoln also decided to eliminate the Native American chief and replace him with a composite cowboy representing the American pioneer. When the project was finished in 1941, the faces of Mount Rushmore would become some of the largest in the world, each being about 60 feet tall and 14 feet thick. And to get the job done, they needed some pretty big tools. In fact, in 1939, a 9-foot hammer drill was used which weighed 24 tons and required 16 men to operate. In modern times, a single person can operate a small drill like this from the comfort of an air-conditioned truck. But back then, these massive drills were not only operated manually, but they also had to be manually lifted into place with ropes and pulleys. Just imagine having to literally pull your drill up the side of a mountain every time you need to use it. That would really slow down production. To lift the drill to the top of the mountain, they built a system of railroads and a network of tunnels that crisscrossed the sculpture, allowing workers to move materials and equipment throughout the site. They drilled holes into the granite and filled them with dynamite, then set off the charges to break away large chunks of rock. The debris was removed by a system of conveyor belts and a network of tunnels. And as the rock was blasted away, the shape of the mountain began to resemble the intended design. By 1936, the entire mountain had been shaped and the finishing touches were being added to the sculptures. However, by 1939, the funding for Mount Rushmore had dried up due to the Great Depression. So Borglum decided to make the final 3 faces much smaller than the first 3. And in 1941, he died of a heart attack before completing the project. Mount Rushmore remained unfinished for almost 70 years until 1998 when the National Park Service announced plans to complete the final 3 faces. However, these plans were met with protests from people who believed that the mountain should be left as is. After all, Mount Rushmore is one of the most recognizable landmarks in the world. Ultimately, the decision was made to leave the mountain alone, and Mount Rushmore has remained as is since 1941. Today, visitors from around the world come to marvel at the engineering and artistry of Mount Rushmore. And I hope that you get the chance to visit this amazing place someday. If you enjoyed this video, please hit the thumbs up button. And don't forget to subscribe if you haven't already. Thanks for watching.